Good afternoon again, jury, and we are waiting for
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Marie. No, your since so far in your subject RMA1 or Research Methods in Agriculture, there's two of you have entered the classroom, and we're anticipating one more or more so far. So for this meeting, as I have told you, we're going to have some sort of orientation, and thank you for your a little background and introduction of yourself. So I will
Thank
now
you, ma'am.
introduce myself. I am Dr. Alminda Fernandez, and I am currently the dean of the College of Agriculture in the RMC. Just for about 6 months now, since I was actually a an overseas worker. I work as a lecturer in crops and food technology at the University of the South Pacific. That is somewhere in Samoa. And prior to that, before I went for overseas, I also worked for that's for 2 years only. And when I come back in the Philippines, it's in the middle of pandemic, so I have no way of going back there. So I am glad that to accept to be the dean of the RMC. And hi, Gabe.
Good afternoon din.
Afternoon.
Sorry, naklase mi gikan kay Ma'am Nora.
Okay, so it's okay. So to continue, we are just introducing ourselves for this orientation, and hopefully we can start a little bit of our module one since as scheduled. And so um, prior to that, as I have said, I work also as an associate professor 5 at the University of Southeastern Philippines, no, for 7 years. So I graduated Doctor of Philosophy in Horticulture at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. But I'm also, my master's degree and bachelor's degree in agriculture is at USEP, or University in the Southeastern Philippines, where I worked for 7 years. So for this subject, as I have just said earlier to Jory, we are using the Zoom link as a instead of the Google Meet. So I so so I realized, Marie, na parang first time mo din, Marie, gumamit ng Zoom.
Yes, usually din we use Google Meet instead of Zoom.
Yes. So I just explained earlier to Jory na I prefer the Zoom for this for every classes because I have free recording for 45 minutes. So before
Okay.
I'll give you as kasi I am now actually recording this one, and for those the other one na hindi, or any of you na hindi maka-attend ng class, so they can go back to the video that I'm going to post. And usually ang Zoom is every 45 minutes. So pag mag-end siya, you can always go back to the link to continue or to formally end the session. And so if you have any more, going back to the introduction, no, if you have some more questions about me, so you can ask me later if you're interested for some more information. So for it's your turn now, Marie ang gave or what, which prefer?
Which depends on you din. But usually they call me Gabe, the
Okay.
school.
So Gabe, can you also tell something about yourself, a little background,
Sure.
level you.
So my name is Margave Maga. So I just entered RMC last 2019. So I'm currently standing as fourth year reg student. I came from University of Mindanao. I took BS biology. So something came up, so there's a problem. Then the new curriculum, so I was not able to enroll again at UM. So I decided to continue, which is my, I really like planting Judine, but I don't know, like there's a deep definition of being agriculturist. So I've decided to took Bachelor of Agricultural Technology at RMC, since I'm currently working as a call center agent, so which is near enough to the school and my office. So
Mm.
now I'm currently here in our province in Surigao del Sur. Because of the pandemic, our office just downsizing, so I was one of those employees got terminated. So I
Uh,
decided to go back here, and I also applied as a home base. So I have a job during evening and the morning. So all the professors in the RMC, the usually the major professors, they already know that I'm a working student. So usually I go to the school like Bilar because musulod ko tulog.
mm.
Then as of now, so I'm here doing a small business to also to sustain my financial needs as well as the needs of my family, since I'm the currently breadwinner for now because they can't move because of this pandemic.
Pero
That's
hindi
it.
ka pa naman married.
Not yet, but I have a partner's currently also helping with me.
Mm. So wala
Yes,
pang
no.
kids din.
Not yet. Not yet,
Sana
Adi.
all.
Now.
Meron ka video pero makita po namin imong kagwapa.
Ay, wait lang
Dali.
din nga. So,
Or it's okay, it's all right na walang
I think
video pero for
I think
definite.
Sana
saon man.
all,
Ay no.
Maga.
Oh,
Hi. So
hi
yan,
din.
malinaw na ang kagwapa ni Gabe. So thank you for attending the class. So, by the way, is it okay for you this time since you said you also work part-time? So, ang schedule
Mhm.
ba natin okay lang sa'yo?
Actually, din kay maligsan siya kang Ma'am Nora na subject.
So,
Yes.
we can always move kasi we only need 45 minutes na synchronous and the rest of the hours are
Mhm.
asynchronous already. You can do it as your in your own na in your own.
Mm.
So, do you want to suggest some time or definite time na pwede lang ta mag-meet? Like maybe 5 to 6 or any schedule na libre mong duha?
Pwede ko ano, Dok, 10 AM usually kasi vacant ang time. 10 to 11
Tawag 10 to 11.
morning.
Okay. So, I don't know for Jory na wala man siya for the meantime. So, pangutanon lang nato siya inigbalik niya if okay siya ana nga time. And sometimes also for working students, I do um parang working lunch session. So, pwede habang nagkakaon
Mm.
mo, syempre, kamura may maminaw sa kuha. So, pwede nagkakaon mo, tas like for 12 to 1, no? Or 11 to 12, pwedeng ganon.
Puwede din 11 to 12.
So,
Mas prefer yatang 11 to 12.
so, so we will ask jury if, Sir Jury, if okay siya, ana, when he comes back on the, travel man daw siya.
Mm.
So, do you have some
Yes din.
concern?
I think na yata siya sa work
Naning, ano,
din.
nag-join lang siya for ano.
Mhm.
So actually, there are
Mm.
two of you enrolled in the Google Classroom. But we are still anticipating
Mm.
one more na isa for the tutorial in
Mm.
in the list, and but maybe wala pa siya naka ano naka register sa Google sa code or sa Google Classroom. Or
So, more than 2 pa mi ay pila mi ka sa subject ani din?
duha pa mo and I expected to low.
Okay.
And there
O
would
kasi ko siya nakakuan sa
mm,
code.
so this is your so nana si Jory. So this is your Google Classroom, and of course you already are familiar of the Google Classroom, diba? So such
Yes, Dean.
view, ayan, these are the activities we have done for the first week. So I posted already the module 1, the introduction um discussion, my quiz and lab exercises. So under class work, you can see here the outline. So andito yung course pack. So ang course guide, nandito yung ating course outline, which is definitely the outline you can see as a whole. So in this course, research methods in agriculture, this will deal the qualitative and quantitative methods in the conduct of agricultural research. If you have not conducted any research before, so this would be um, actually I can say that is um, parang a good time or valuable time for you kasi in the other curriculum, yung bagong curriculum now, wala na silang research methods. Although, I'm trying to revert it back kasi mahalaga talaga ang
Mm.
research method wherever you go no, na field. So, in this subject, uh, it will emphasize the importance on how to conduct research and the different current research issues we have in agriculture, and also what are the appropriate research designs and statistical methods in solving the research problems in agriculture. So it is expected that you're going to have the knowledge and skills of the following: research designs, writing proposal, data collection, analysis, and presentation up to publication, and also appreciate being a scientist, in whatever field you go. So also in this guide are the RNC graduate attributes, vision, mission, goals, and our core values. So here is the outline now. So we have 6 modules. Module 1, Introduction, 2, Statistical Tools, and Module 3, Types and Methods of Research, 4, Research Proposal Making, and 5, Writing Research Paper Publication, and lastly, how you're going to present your research output. So under course materials, you can find here the different supplementary readings, no? And these are, we're going to finish all the modules in 18 weeks, hopefully. So the grading system would be quizzes, 20%, exercises, yung sinend ko lang bago, is 40%, and the prelim midterm final exams is also 40%. So as you notice, wala tayong attendance, no? But although we don't have attendance, because that is just to be fair to everyone who can, kasi as a student you can opt for actually joining the synchronous session or not, kasi depende yan sa, of course we don't know, like right now mag-blackout sa inyo, walay kuryente, walay signal, so we cannot avoid those circumstances. So to be fair, walang attendance. But then your participation in this session or your attendance will be counted as additional scores whenever you needed it. Like medyo mababa ang score mo sa any of this, sa quiz, sa exercise, or sa exam, so dun ko idadagdag. So for every session we have, that's automatic 5 points, no? So that's why I am always posting the screenshot doon sa ating stream views. Makikita nyo rin later. So jury, we're actually discussing na i-change yung time. So nagsuggest
Yes, ma'am.
si Gabe na Mondays 11 to 12. 11 to 12 to na, working lunch kung okay sa inyo.
Oh, okay kayo, ma'am. Mao gyud na ako ang gusto i-suggest pod ganiha, ma'am.
Work kayo.
Wala lang sa ako nag-suggest kay kita pa man duha.
So, okay na sa inyo 11 to 12 Monday.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, okay kayo, ma'am. Kanang start 12
11
to
to 12?
1 p.m. 12 to 1
Ah,
p.m.
No,
or
11.
11 to 12 maga.
11 kay magsulod yata klase si Ma'am Nora kay 12 to
Unsa
1
man?
kay akong mga classmate mag-practicum sa Wangan, dili na sila mahilabtan pag 1 p.m. onwards.
Sige, okay ra. Okay ra, sige.
Kaya ni mo 11
Sige.
to
Oh, okay,
12.
sige. 11 to 12.
Okay lang. So, anyway, you can
Sige, okay. Naram ko sa office.
mag-audio ra ka. No, audio lang and while eating or working lunch siya actually. So you will just listen to me anyway. So meron I just have presented the ano the grading system and yun nga quizzes, exercise and exam lang. Hindi kasali yung attendance because of these circumstances, no. So 5 points attendance will be added, every session will be added to your scores. So if you cannot join the session, then wala ding that's okay, wala namang minus points kasi hindi siya kasali sa ating grading system. So parang additional points lang siya. So there are general rules which already you are already practicing, no? So just look out for the different posted na mga lecture notes, videos, assignments, exercises or laboratories and exams. And of course, I presume that you know already how to upload or send or submit your requirements on the Google Classroom. If not, you just tell me. No, so you can also see here my simple background or short background. And yan. And also, aside from the course guide, there's also a study guide which is already in here. So for the module 1, you can see kung ano na ang for the module 1, ano dapat ang malalaman mo, and nandito na rin yung key concept which will also be presented in your in the PowerPoint presentation or on the session that I'm going to have. So ayan, after the key what do you call this, key concepts, you can also see here the learning resources, yung mga references, and ano yung mga learning activities or dapat ninyong gawin. So nandito ang quiz, which is I already posted in the quiz work, classwork, and exercises, no? So ay nakalagay na yan dyan sa, if you can see here the grades here. Ayan, ito yung dapat ninyong i-comply na which is due on February 28 and March. Bakit February 28 ito? And March 29? So,
Din.
hindi, nakalimot lang siguro ko sorry kung na ako na nakalimot ko sa deadline. So anyway, these due dates are not really fixed. You can always go back to this until the end of the semester kasi these are just guides on which to do first. Kasi if I'm going to present this as a whole or gagawin ninyo in the last minute na, medyo mabigat. So naka-schedule siya para you work only one at a time and it would be easier. Although the workload is the same, but feeling lang natin easier. So anyway, if you have, like yung exercise 1 natin is to Yung instruction is to you should able to pick and write a good title, no? In relation to module 1. So, yung quizzes naman, you can see here. Yan. Wait lang. So, ito yung quiz. So, you can just immediately paste your answer here and then send it to me, or you can attach I don't know, your view kasi magkaiba tayo ng view. And by the way,
Hey, excuse me, ma'am.
can you see my screen just to make sure?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, Dean.
Kanang, ma'am din. Nakoy ask, ma'am ba?
Oo.
Kanang what if is written lang, ma'am ba? I-picturean na ko tapos kung tayo ba natay quiz. Picturean na ko tapos i-attach na ko. Okay ra, ma'am?
Okay ra po.
Kay
Or
wala magoy laptop, ma'am. Nasa office ba?
okay.
Written lang na ko. Okay lang i-written tapos i-picturean.
O, pwede ra. Usually, ana po lang ginabuhat. Especially kung exam.
Sige, salamat kay ma'am.
So, or you can, if you have difficulties in sending here, kami, minsan meron talagang technical difficulties. So, you can also send it to me through my Facebook account. That's why yung contact information meron yung Facebook account. Okay, so going back doon sa classwork, so we are done already on the orientation of your course guide and study guide. So, upcoming yung mga sasagutin ninyo. So, hopefully we will finish these 6 modules in the end. So, actually, ang final output ng inyong subject is is very practical, no? You will be able to conduct a short experiment and bali ano na yan, 3-in-1 na yan, no? Or 2-in-1. It will be your exercises and it will also be part of your prelim, midterm, and final. So for that, kasi this is more practical subject. So you're going to also practice how to present or publish your paper as part ng mga exam. So, yun. So, do you have any concerns or questions? So, we can start with the module 1. This will take about 24 minutes or more. Do you have any question before we proceed?
None, Dean, so far.
So, actually, as I have said, you can always opt not to join the session, and every session that would be every Mondays 11 to 12. I am always recording a video, whether you are around or not, or both of you are around or not. So when during your asynchronous time, no, yung chosen time niyo makapag-work kayo sa mga requirements, you can always go back to the video and look for the discussion. No, so I'm providing a PowerPoint presentation and I will also post this video later. Okay, so for module 1 again, we're going to take up the introduction about research methods in agriculture. So the first topic we're going to have is the difference between common sense and science. So sometimes we always hear that common sense gamitan na imong common sense, no? So we also have scientific methods. If you remember your biology and other sciences, we always, in every experiment we always use the scientific methods. So we will try to define common sense versus science. And as you can see on the screen here, they are both very different, of course. and also very alike. Kasi, and we will know later. So, as you can see, no, this is actually a joke na na photo or picture illustration. Biology is the only science where multiplication and division mean the same thing. Because if you remember on the cell division, or how bacteria replicate, so they actually increase numbers or increase size by dividing the cells. So it's just some thought that in case you don't know yet. So for common sense also, in relation to common sense and science, they are actually the same but very different. So let's take a look first with the differences between science and common sense. So why do we have to differentiate science and common sense anyway? So we all know that science is very important, no? That's why we have this technology now, and it's because out of science. And for common sense, we always use the common sense, but we're not even sure if it's if is it a science, is it also a, what do you call that, a philosophy or what, no? So it's for science, of course, we it's easy to define science. That is, we always know it's a systematic body of knowledge, something like that. While when we try to define common sense, so of course a sense that is common, no? Parang what is common sense is what is usually obvious, what is in our senses. We have different senses. We have the eyes, the ears, the sense of touch, some things like that. So for common sense, it's mainly concerned with immediate action in context. So what is happening immediately. So it's always, although it's always factual, but like when you have seen a crime, no, like nakita nimo na ay namatay na gipusil, and you have seen the one who is whether nakita nimo nga halimbawa no na tao sa iyang gilid, so you cannot easily say na motoy nagpatay sa iyaha, no? So we cannot say that. So it needs still investigation, and that's scientific method to do that. Although yung ating criminal cases actually do not depend so much on experimental based type of investigation, but it's something like very complicated na ganon, no? So, but for science, it mainly concerned with achieving some understanding, or which is dependent with of the persons and the context and the interest that which issue the need for guiding immediate action. So science in other terms, common sense is what is actual, what is factual, but for science it's more than factual. It's more than what is, it's more on imagination, and but based on facts. And common sense relies more on broad brush of basic dimensions of how things can possibly be. So it's very broad, and it's only what is only possible. Unlike for science na pwedeng, it's not still possible today, but who knows in the next generation, like who would ever think that we could ever have a a a powerful virus like the COVID, no? And who would ever think na we're going to have flexible learning like this, no? We could even talk through video or virtual classes like this. So, and that's possible. And And if you have heard about not only NASA, and we also have one SpaceX, no, they are even trying to colonize Mars. Have you heard of that? Nakadog na mo ana, Jory and Gabe? Or are you familiar with Elon Musk?
Not
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
So,
Familiar na ko ni Elon Musk, ma'am. At
of course, the world. Uh, na ang
si
niya
Elon Musk is ano na siya, ma'am.
sa,
Nakita na ko na siya video.
sa Tesla, yung electric cars, and the owner of that, and also ngayon yung he's trying to he's trying
Ano,
to actually go to Mars, no, not him,
spaceship, ma'am.
to bring people to Mars, no. And he's
Spaceship.
doing good on that, but it's very crazy and very expensive. So we are actually running out of times. This will end in 10 minutes. So let's see where are we going to end. So we have 10 minutes left. So after 10 minutes, if you have still question, then I still can entertain your questions through going back to the link again. No, so please be reminded that we only have not asynchronous, but synchronous lectures for only 45 minutes para to give uh to give you more time on your requirements and also self studies, and also not to too expensive para sa ating. I know you are spending much time for for the loads and everything. So to continue, it's rationality boils down to what makes sense. So kung ano lang yung possible na nakikita ng ating mga senses, yun lang ang common sense. Like you say, of course, before we don't know gravity yet, or before the people do not know yet that the world is round, no, we think that the world is flat, the earth is just flat, like flat flowing, no, but later on we have proof, no, when what was it, Christopher Columbus who actually voyage, no, world, wala siya nakita, wala tay makita nga ano, nga flat, then continuous jud sa world yun, I mean, circle jud ang world. So, for science naman, it has developed an extensive toolkit of theoretical models investigated in great detail so that its imaginative resources are very finely structured and elaborated. So, for science naman, we have theories or models, no, that might be possible. So, although nakikita natin ito, but then we try to experiment more to create something new. And for common sense, collaborative or collusive, but when differences arise, agreements to differ are common. Like, ibang tao kasi, iba-iba ang pananaw. Iba-iba ang, like, even two people have different, parang color blind yung iba, di ba? Ang pagtanaw, sometimes there are photos, there are colors that we don't see the same, no? Color. Like na ay mga color blinded na tao, ang nakikita lang nila lahat ay green. Or have you heard of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, differences, sometimes gani ang color, pag tanan na to blue, so naana siya psychological, um, mga psychological meanings, no? And whether other, yung nakikita nila is red, na nakikita ng iba blue. So, that is actually true if you have tried that in some,
Colorblind ba tawagan na, Ma'am Jean?
yes, there
Ba?
are people that are colorblind. Yung pag colorblind siya, most nang nakikita niya ay green. But there
Mm.
are also people na depende yan sa color or color combination na ipakita mo. Na
Ma'am
iba,
din,
oo.
tinuod to ingon nila nga gray murag black and white nga color blind or kana gyud green gyud kasagaran.
Well, ang nadinig ko lang kasi ang insects may mga ganun eh. Maraming characteristic ng insects. But for people, I just have, and who knows, no? Because of science, everything or anything can be possible. So may mga instances siguro na black and white lang din. Yung mga case line. But there is also one psychological explanation na sometimes there are people na ang pagtanaw nila sa color is red while sa, sometimes yung iba is actually pink or blue because of of course the difference between left and right brains, and also there are also a lot of investigations right now comparing yung sexual differences ng lalaki at babae in terms of brain structure and capacities. So, although for now hindi pa naman masyadong ano siya, parang valid yung results. So, to continue, in common sense, person think as they do. In the scientific world, knowledge is what is currently is, no? As I have said, and science generated a variety of new and some not widely shared ways of being rational. As long as there's reason to provide or behind that science, like who knows, no artificial intelligence, no? Kanang sa salida lang nato nga mga science fiction nga salida, nga makita nato nga nga robotics. So we don't know that will happen soon. Maabtan pa na nato, no? 50 years from now. Buhay pa ba ta?
Buyag ma'am, buyag.
And relies more on extensive collaborative and competitive work towards an arguable agreement. So, kanina sa common sense, iba-ibang tao may ibang common sense, no? But for science, medyo extensive siya, collaborative, and parang unarguable siya, parang agreement na no doubt that's really what it is, no?
Nice sariling method ma'am.
Yes, because you do the statistics and tries to go behind things as they seem to detect, control, and understand the behavior of entities or anything, artificial events as experiments. That's why you experiment nga, no? Kasi you're trying to prove something na pwede siya. So as to isolate the effects of various entities. And in a way, science will never be satisfied kasi it is creating something more and more and more to make ways of life better and even more complicated, no? Like the invention of different mga gadgets, no, to for war or for killing persons. Like even we don't know, no, baka create lang din ang COVID-19. So, but for common sense, more concerned with coping with things as they are and in all their awkward combinations. So, kung ano mga nangyayari, no, what is in front of us, we're just trying to um, internalize. Bakit to nangyayari? So, that's common sense. So, bakit like even blame to religions, like we have this COVID because we're not what do you call that, we're not good enough for our world, for our country, or our God is trying to ano yan, pinaparusahan tayo. So some thoughts like that. But then they are also similar on these ways. They have fundamental concrete models of thought. So it's still connected to our thought, and the reasoning is done with imagined entities and events that they are using thinking fundamentally the same kind of way. So the same reasoning and the same explanations of physical reality or stories about entities or world in order to explain. And in the end, it both stop explaining at the level of what is for the time being made to be seem obvious. So once it's been obvious, then no more explanation, then that is the fact already. And when we understand events as working out according to the currently imagined or understood nature of how things are, and both share the same common ontology of space, time, object, and action that is the same basic dimensions of thought, but use them differently and attribute entities and events differently to them. So although